My personal story is, as a child, my parents, when I was probably around 8 years old, took me to a drive-in movie theater to see Some Like It Hot. And I don't remember knowing who Marilyn was at that time, but I absolutely fell in love with her when I saw her on the screen. I'd never seen anybody look like her. Where I was growing up, nobody looked like Marilyn Monroe, and I just couldn't take my eyes off of her. And I vowed at that time to start collecting anything I could on her, and I did. I bought posters, and I found books and pictures, and that got me started on the road to being president of her fan club all these many years later. I guess wasn't interested in her life at first. I just found her fascinating. But when I bought my first book on Marilyn Monroe, which was called The Films of Marilyn Monroe, I started becoming fascinated with who this woman was, who had started from nothing, just being a very poor, almost an orphan here in Los Angeles, and was able to rise to being one of the greatest movie stars of all time. And I thought, how did this happen? And so I started reading about her, but there was very little to read at that time. The very first book really out on her that was a real full-length book was Marie Solitow, wrote a biography of her life, and I bought that, and I went, oh my gosh, what an interesting, fascinating, lovely person. I wish that I had known her. And that's why I started collecting, so I could get to know her better. I think Marilyn is different in a very wonderful, unique way. There's something special about her. When she's on the screen, you cannot take your eyes off of her. She's almost glowing on the screen. There's this almost like a light around her. She's so fascinating, and I don't know why exactly. There's a lot of theories, possibly that she has this vulnerability from being sort of a child in a woman's body. But there's more than that. There's such a lovely spirit that comes across, and also she's just so beautiful. And she's so funny, and everything she does seems to radiate this lovely quality that I don't see happening on anyone else on the screen. I mean, there's wonderful actresses, but there's something unique and special about her that, thank God we got her on film, because it would have been lost forever if we hadn't. Her personality. Well, I didn't know her, of course, but just from having met dozens of people that did know her, they said that she had a very warm, giving, loving personality, and you couldn't help but adore her immediately because she was so nice to you, and really open and loving and fun, the kind of person you want to hang around. And you had to be careful. She was so generous with her personality. If you admired something that she was wearing or whatever, the next day you would open your door and it would be sitting at your doorstep because she would give it to you. That was the kind of spirit, generous, open, loving spirit that she had about her. And that's a personality, I think, that how can you not adore that kind of personality?
Do you think she was sad?
I do think there was sadness in Marilyn's life, and I think it goes back to her childhood because she never ever had a permanent family. And that has to be hard on a child, to never be able to totally give yourself to anyone because you know that someday you won't have them anymore because they're going to give you to somebody else. And she was shuffled to many different homes over the years of her childhood, and I think that left a certain neediness and emptiness in her life that she was never quite able to fulfill. And yeah, I think that sadness was there, but there was also a lot of joy in her life. She did a lot of wonderful things. She accomplished a lot, and it wasn't all sad by any means. There was a lot of good things in her life too.